Today on Politics Unplugged, we dive deep into the politics of extreme heat. We'll speak with a couple of workers who earn a living in the triple-digit weather. And we'll speak with the policymakers trying to make their lives easier. Plus, President Trump threatens to eliminate the most popular method of voting in Arizona. Our panel breaks it all down now on Politics Unplugged.
And good evening, I'm political editor Dennis Welch. This is Politics Unplugged, and this week we're taking a look at the politics of heat here in Arizona, the impact it has on our community, and whether the legislature should be doing more to protect us. Here to talk about that, Ed Gil, an electrical worker who often spends long days on construction sites, and Karla Torres, a parental community health worker who deals with the heat herself and sees the effects firsthand. I want to thank you both for being here. I know it's not natural for you to come on TV show to talk about this, but it's good to get the perspective of regular working people on all of this. So you work on a lot of construction sites, you're an electrician. Tell us a little bit about your job and what you see when you're on a site during the summer months here.
Well, during the summer months, prior to everything, we have a massive meeting to warn everybody to take precautions. The companies there provide plenty of water, shade, and recommend breaks as needed as the temperatures rise.
You know, the boss is pretty good at that, giving breaks. I mean, years ago in another life, I used to work in some construction. It was like in the summertime, and it was just like, we got like a 15-minute break, half-hour lunch, and a 15-minute break in the afternoon. Is it different now?
It is during the heat times. It is because of heat exhaustion and all that comes with it. So they recommend, if needed, if you start feeling dizzy, go ahead, take a 5-10 minute break, get some water, sit in the shade, do what is necessary so you can go home and be good.
Yeah. And you have a different experience. I mean, you are commuting. You're from, all over the valley, basically, to go work with, would you call them patients, clients, or whatnot?
Clients.
Okay, with clients, tell us a little bit about your job, what you actually do, and what you see and experience.
Yes, I am a community health worker. Yeah, we have to connect with all the community members. It doesn't matter where they are. So we have to drive to their homes. Health Star is a home visiting program for prenatal and parents with kids under 2 years old. Okay. And we have to go and assess anything. But in the summer especially, it's really hard because we have to drive, for example, in my case, from South Phoenix to Glendale or Maryville, which is 45 minutes or more, when the heat is the top, and then sometimes the AC is not good. And the families, they're struggling with different situations. All apartments or homes that they're dealing with ACs that they don't work, with babies, pregnant, and different kind of situations.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, some of that, I mean, yeah, it's an uncomfortable drive, but some of your clients that you're working with, patients, when you go out there and visit them, these aren't people who are well off. I mean, these are people probably, a lot of them do deal with the heat firsthand with an AC bus. They may not have money to repair it and whatnot. What kind of challenges does that present you and the people you're treating out there? What do you see with that?
Yeah, just little quick as be part for the program, they have to have social risks, which means that their families that they're with low income, families that they don't have education, families that they don't have the right documentation to ask for any services. So a lot of times they don't even know how to get to the services. They don't have transportation or things like that. And it's really challenging for us to connect them with the service. There's not a lot of community health workers that they can be around just supporting the neighborhoods. And yeah, it's something that we have every day.
And tell us a little bit about what you'd like to see more, if there's anything more that can be done at this point to help protect construction workers like yourself.
Well, for every site, it's different. Hopefully, with this getting out there, gain the recognition to kind of make it widespread across the state where everybody that works in these kind of conditions have the necessary resources to protect them from the heat.
Yeah, and what kind of, when you say, because I mean the heat's, it's hard to do that if you're working outside in construction. Yes. There's nothing, the government doesn't control the weather. No. So what can be done? Do you think what more needs to be done? I mean, earlier start times. We've already seen legislation that was passed that would help you guys out. You think you can start working in sites now at 5 a.m. instead of later? Yes. What else would you like to see?
for where I'm at, things are pretty good from what I hear from everybody else. If we could all get on the same page for them, breaks as needed is very helpful. And just rotating and being more aware of the consequences of the heat.
Okay. And what about yourself? I mean, what can make your job a little bit easier? What can make the lives of the people you work with a little bit easier in terms of getting through the summer months? I mean, the summers seem to be getting hotter and hotter every year. I mean, we had a record summer last year. We're not through this summer yet, and we don't know where this fits in the history of everything. But what would you like to say?
I think for us, it will be super helpful to have resources more accessible to the families. A lot of times they don't have what they require to just have a minimum support. Because in the summer as well, even they don't cut the electricity, there's accumulating at the end of the month, the season, they have to pay everything. I think education is a key as well. Having translations, having access to the different resources that we may have, or more income, more grants for community health workers that they can go and support the families. I think it will be.
Okay, and let's wrap up on this. We did see the passage of, I think it was Senate Bill 1182 last year. Again, we was talking about the earlier start times in the summer. How much of an impact has that made on you?
It's been very helpful to go in, do the work that's necessary, and leave at a decent time before the heat gets really bad.
Okay, and final question for you then. I mean, you know, what more would you like to see out of the legislature, if there's anything?
I think more support with the community members, more support, more grants, more opportunity to have ACs or more housing access for families that they really need.
Okay, we're going to end it right there. I want to thank you both for taking some time here to stop by and talk about this really important issue. And still ahead, so what can be done in the legislature to better protect people in our community from this intense heat? A state lawmaker will talk about that when Politics Unplugged continues. And to get more in-depth on the issues, check out the Politics Unplugged podcast. This week, I'm joined by consultants Doug Cole and Matt Grotsky. The Politics Unplugged podcast drops every Sunday evening wherever you get your podcasts. And welcome back to Politics Unplugged. So what could lawmakers be doing to protect our community from the severe summer heat? Here to talk about that is State Senator Analise Ortiz. I want to thank you very much for being here today. And we talked a little bit in the last segment about Senate Bill 1182. And that, again, it pushes up or back the start times. Construction crews can start working. What is the feedback you've been hearing from the community since that bill has passed? Because it passed with an emergency clause, I remember, so it went into effect immediately.
That's right. With overwhelming bipartisan support, I was very proud to have primary sponsored that bill. So far, I've been receiving a lot of positive feedback from construction workers who say that that extra hour of being able to start their shift earlier can prove to be life-saving in terms of avoiding the hottest part of the day.
Now, has there been any? Are there any statistics that are kept? We know at the county, we know that the county itself, Maricopa County, keeps like heat-related deaths or deaths that are suspected to be attributed to the heat. Is there anything like that with people who work outside, in these statistics that you can look at to measure success or failure of policies like this?
We absolutely need to do a better job of tracking heat-related deaths. Unfortunately, Maricopa County itself has been found to be underreporting heat-related deaths. There is also not consistency across counties. So I do think we could look at a piece of legislation or possibly even the policies within the Department of Health to start tracking these differently, so we do have clear data about the different populations who are impacted.
What do you say to people? You've seen this stuff on social media. You're reading the same stuff I am. There is a contingent out there that says, you know, it's not really hotter, and that Arizona, it's always been hot. What are we so concerned about? I mean, what's the response from your end on that?
Well, the science just does not back that up. I was born and raised in Arizona, and so I know, you know, the difference that we have seen throughout my lifetime even. And one of the biggest problems is how long we are going with triple digits, more than 100 days with triple digits. Those are the types of patterns that are unprecedented and that can be deadly for people who are homeless, whose bodies don't get a chance to cool down overnight, or for senior citizens who might experience something like their air conditioning being shut off in their home and not knowing that that is a dangerous, deadly condition, which unfortunately has led to deaths here in the county.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, folks like you would say this is the, you know, what we're seeing is the effects of climate change and whatnot. And I think what you would say is, regardless of what's causing those, what we're seeing is really happening, and more does need to be done to help protect our community and protect people here in Arizona, particularly in the Valley, correct?
Exactly. We need both the policies to slow down the impacts of man-made climate change, and we also need to be addressing the heat that is here now and putting in those mitigation policies like SB 1182. Representative Mariana Sandoval also had a great bill that would have been more robust in terms of requiring employers to give free water, ice, paid work breaks for outdoor workers. That bill, unfortunately, did not make it through, but we are going to continue fighting because workers, like the ones you talked to earlier, depend on those types of policies.
And now that's a good transition, because I do want to ask about what moving forward. I mean, we'll be back at the legislature in 6 short months. What kinds of policies, what kinds of bills do you plan on offering this time around? What are the issues you want to address when it comes to heat in the summer?
I'm looking forward to supporting bipartisan efforts to have stronger protections for workers. It was great that the worker you heard from earlier is in a union, and unions have that bargaining power so that employees can fight for protections. But there are so many workers who are not unionized who deserve the same types of protections, like paid breaks in the shade and free water when they are working outside. So I hope we can advance a bill like that. I also hope to look at the utilities and the shutoffs that are happening, which we know are, they have certain protections only during certain months of the year, but it's getting hotter and hotter, earlier and earlier. So we also need to revisit how we can ensure people who can't pay their bill are not immediately having their power shut off and put in deadly situations.
And what's the Republican response? Because I think the key word there for you is, like, you're looking forward for bipartisan support on this, because basically you have no other option. I mean, Republicans control the legislature; they will next year. What are you hearing from that? Is there any change in thinking from the Republican side and being more willing to look at those types of proposals more seriously and potentially carry the water on that?
There definitely is an appetite for worker protections across the board, and to address the issue of homelessness, because extreme heat is impacting people who live outside as well. And so I'm confident that we can continue to have those conversations, because when people are suffering from heat illness, it does not matter if they're Republican, Democrat, or independent. They deserve to be in a safe working condition or a safe living environment, and I think that we can find some common ground there.
Okay, and let's wrap up on this. We know that the governor has her excessive heat plan. We know the counties does their thing. Should there be more of an effort during the hot summer months from local governments, state governments, to provide cooling spaces, more water stations? Should there be more of a robust effort, or do you think they're responding appropriately at this time?
I'm very proud of the work we did the past couple of years to improve the cooling centers and the network of people who are responding to this heat crisis. However, there absolutely is room for improvement. We need to make sure we have 24-hour respite centers. We need to have more locations where people can go and get the word out so that people know they can call 211 and get a free ride to those cooling centers, regardless of what their circumstance is. So I want to work on that.
And a real quick follow-up on that. We do know some buildings are not 24/7.
Yeah.
They're these government buildings. How come they're not 24/7?
It's a good question. I think that the folks in the Heat Relief Network would say that there's a lot of issues around staffing and capacity, so they do need more funding. But I agree with you 100% that these should be open 24/7. Some of them close like around 4 o'clock, which is the hottest part of the day. So we need to constantly be improving this.
All right, I want to thank you very much, Senator Analise Ortiz. Thank you very much for stopping by here today. And up next, I'll be bringing in our panel to talk about all this week's major headlines, including President Trump's vow to eliminate mail-in voting. That's next, right here on Politics Unplugged.
It's time for a quick check of the stories driving politics in Arizona and across the country. Here's your political roundup. We begin with President Trump threatening to kill the most popular method of voting in Arizona. The commander-in-chief said his lawyers are working on an executive order to roll back mail-in voting, which is used by more than 3/4 of Arizona voters. Is it a draft or just hot air? Arizona Congressman David Schweikert is reportedly mulling over a run for governor. The 8-term congressman said several prominent Republicans have asked him to run because they're worried about the current crop of GOP candidates. Mark Kelly is the latest Arizona senator who won't rule out a 2028 presidential run. His seatmate, Senator Ruben Gallego, has deflected questions about his presidential aspirations for months. This week, it was Senator Kelly who declined to say if he had the White House fever. And finally, there once was a governor in Nantucket. It was Katie Hobbs who wanted cash in her bucket. All jokes and rhymes aside, the Arizona governor popped up in the ritzy East Coast tourist spot this week to raise some money for her 2026 re-election campaign.
All right, let's bring in our panel right now. Former Democratic lawmaker Aaron Lieberman and Republican consultant Barrett Marson. Let's start with you, Barrett. Mail-in voting. The president has had an on and off again relationship with mail-in voting. Now he's saying his lawyers are working up an executive order to get rid of this very popular form of voting that has really benefited Republicans here. And over 3/4 of the voters we mentioned use this method of voting.
Yeah. You know, we aren't Pennsylvania or Iowa or whatever other state that only started mail-in voting during the pandemic.
Sure.
We have been doing this for well over a generation. Arizona has it down in a safe and secure way. And indeed, it has mostly benefited Republicans. To get rid of early voting here in Arizona would be a disaster for Republicans.
Well, you think the proof was in the pudding back in 2020, back when Donald Trump was telling people not to mail in their ballots. He lost that race. Last year, he was telling people to make sure they got their mail-in ballots in early, and he happened to win.
Yeah, look, you called it right there. It's all about the big lie of 2020. It's unbelievable that he's still keeping this going. It was Republicans in Arizona who brought us mail-in voting. It worked well for them for years. It has changed. We're now seeing a real difference where day-of voters increasingly are actually Republican voters. It used to be the flip here in Arizona, but still 75% of people use it. There's a long list of dumb things I think President Trump is doing. This might be number one in terms of making people not want to vote.
I don't want to be crass or even morbid, but life happens on random Tuesdays that also happen to be election day. Car accidents, you have a project due at work, a kid gets sick, Lord only knows. And if you have to go vote, take 2 hours, an hour to go out and vote, you may not have that time. When you've already mailed in your ballot, it's all taken care of.
Could this be a political issue itself?
I think so. I mean, we've actually seen it. We've seen some members of the legislature who voted to severely restrict our own ability to vote in advance and stay on Pebble or Able or whatever they call it now. I think Arizonans like to vote. They're free and fair. I think we should, start fighting about ideas and stop fighting about trying to eliminate people.
People are literally voting with their pencils.
Exactly.
75 to 80% of Arizonans vote early or by mail. They have spoken.
And let's shift now. Let's talk a little bit about Congressman David Schweikert. There's been reports that he is mulling over a run for governor. How are you taking this? Is this just a trial balloon to see if there's anything there? Because if he is going to run, I mean, what would his lane be?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think there's an element of when you spend, 16 years or whatever it is talking about cutting the deficit and go vote for a $3 trillion increase, you're wondering, what am I doing in Washington, D.C.? And I think this might be a situation in terms of what's the alternative. I think there's also an element of running scared. Amish Shah gave him a pretty close run. It was a big Trump wave. Amish didn't get over the line this time. I think most Democrats think that he will in a typical kind of bounce back year. This is probably the #1 pickup for Democrats all across the country. And I think a lot of this is Schweikert not wanting to go out a loser.
Yeah, the problem here is Republicans have only gained in registration in that district. Democrats have lost registration in that district. He has been there a long time. I don't know that he loves going back.
Exactly.
I don't believe he's going to run for governor. But if this is a ploy, it's a ploy to get more money out of Washington Republicans to come and rescue him.
Because the important part here is we've all seen how important a Donald Trump endorsement is in a primary. Both Karen Taylor Robson and Andy Biggs have both been doubly endorsed by this president for this gubernatorial primary. I don't know. Schweikert does not have that endorsement.
That's exactly right. And what lane would he go down? He's not really a MAGA guy. He's not quite, I think it probably would help Andy Biggs potentially if he got in terms of splitting some of the non-MAGA vote down the middle there. But it'd be interesting to see. I think it's unlikely to happen.
I think it would absolutely hurt Andy Biggs. You have Karen Taylor Robson being the only woman in the race against two men. Historically, that favors the female candidate. But also, I just don't know that he wants to really campaign statewide. As you well know, Aaron, you ran in that district. It's a pretty small district, right? It's a pretty compact district.
It's a very big state.
And it's a very big state.
Yeah, let's talk about Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat. He was asked point blank if he's got any aspirations to run in 2028. He wanted the commentator on CNN wanted a yes/no answer to the question, and the senator said, "I'm not going to give you that."
Yeah.
Is he somebody who's going to be could be a legitimate contender in 2028?
Look, I think by everybody's accounts, he was on Kamala Harris's final three to become vice president. So by definition, he's an absolute contender to be president of the United States. I think it's kind of fun right now that we have these two senators in Arizona who are kind of, I think they get along, but they're kind of each showing everybody, what they're doing by these talking to Michigan and trips to Iowa and things like that. Senator Kelly, there's something about being an astronaut. I mean, I got him elected here. We don't have a lot of people who start at the U.S. Senate. No. There's something about being an astronaut that is immediately cachet for people, and he was it.
I think it's interesting that Ruben Gallego has leapfrogged Kelly. I mean, he's going to Iowa, he's going to New Hampshire, and he's doing all these events. He is, Ruben Gallego, in so much as he's in the national conversation, is much more in the national conversation than Kelly, who indeed was on the short list for Kamala Harris.
But does this raise the prospect of potential conflict between the two senators who maybe should be working more as a team? Maybe they are working as a team right now, but could this raise the level? If they're both competing for that ultimate goal, could you see some conflict here?
You could. I just don't think. I really don't think both of them are going to run. That's the thing. I know it's some sort of dream scenario here. Both of them are
president, vice president, all Arizona ticket.
Yeah,
Is that what you're thinking?
I mean, and look, Mark Kelly has suffered from being, a little stiff on the stump. And so he really didn't start to stand out until a little bit earlier this year in that Pete Hegseth, some of those confirmation hearings. So he's going to have to really step up his media game if he wants to, even compete with Ruben Gallego, who does well.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the governor. She winged her way out to Nantucket, a nice little spot for vacation, go raise some money for her campaign. Is this a good look for an Arizona governor to be going all the way out to the East Coast?
What's the Willie Sutton line? Why do you rob banks? Because that's where the money is.
Why do you go to Nantucket? Because that's where the money is.
Hobbs is robbing the banks.
It is kind of funny. I mean, you got to go where wealthy donors are, where wealthy donors spend the summer, and people can write checks. That's what happens. In the Massachusetts world, Martha's Vineyard is a Democrat island, and Nantucket is a Republican island. So it's actually kind of funny that she was there and not over on Martha's Vineyard. But you got to go where the dough is to raise money for these very expensive races.
There once was a governor who went to Nantucket. The state was on fire, but she ducked it.
Oh, boy.
I was better than yours, Dennis.
Oh, boy. You were waiting for a long time to uncork that one.
Absolutely.
Let's wrap on this. Some interesting drama with the Republican Party. Chairwoman Gina Swoboda had suggested that maybe there should be some guardrails on the Empowerment Scholarship account spending. We've seen a lot of reporting about how there's been some misuse of spending that money. Now some people want her gone as chair.
Unlike the Democratic Party mishigas of a few months ago, where the entire delegation, every major elected official came out against the Democratic Party chair, this is just a couple of cranks.
A couple of
cranks.
This is Turning Point USA. This is a sitting senator.
This is a couple of cranks who are coming out. A sitting state senator, by the way, who are coming out and making the complaints. Gina won elections. I mean, maybe they're just not used to winning. Gina won the state for Trump, expanded the majorities at the state legislature.
She won the state.
The core issue is the ESAs are a runaway train, and everyone knows it and sees it. It makes no sense to have people buying cellos and all this other stupid stuff when we can't pay our bills. Some Republicans are going to bite on trying to do something to fix this, and she got there ahead of everybody else, and good for her for saying what everybody knows.
All right, great discussion, guys. That is all the time we have this week, but be sure to join us next week for more Politics Unplugged. Good night now.